Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Healthy Project podcast. I'm your host, Corey Dion Lewis. This is a special conversation I'm having, and we have a conference, My City, My Health, coming up in two weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
It's wild, right?
Yes, and I got to tell the story because so you guys do a nonprofit co-working.
Yeah.
I've only been able to go one time,
Yeah.
but the one time when I wasn't looking for my panelists, I was forced to get my panelists.
I mean, it was a very exciting conversation. Yes.
Yes. I think I was just kind of talking about it, like, hey, I'm having this panel, and you was like, wait a minute. If you know Victoria, like, hold on, let's break it down. And you asked a really good question. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I learned, because I've said this before. I've been in public health for a little bit, but it's been just recently where I've connected civic engagement in politics with public health and why it's so important.
Yeah.
I'm fairly new to that, so I don't know anything about that connection.
Yeah.
But that day I was schooled pretty quickly.
Well, and Victoria's brain naturally is like solution seeking as well. So,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So, the civic engagement panel, which is going to be with everything going on right now, a very important conversation we're going to be having. How are we feeling about, the importance of civic engagement right now? Like why? If someone who, like me, before I realized, if you were talking to someone who was like, why is civic engagement important? Like, what would you say to them?
You want to start? You want me to start?
There's literally nothing more important to you. And I think this is what we talked about that day in the library. Civic engagement covers every single thing that you care about.
Yeah.
Whether you care about education, whether you care about actual politics, whether you care about health, it doesn't matter. You have to be civically engaged to move the agenda forward in the way that you want for yourself, your family, and your community.
Yeah.
And so you have to be engaged. Now, also what we talked about that day is that civic engagement looks different for everybody. There are people who will serve in political office, and there are people who will advise people who serve in political office, whether that be through their personal experiences or through nonprofit organizations or whatever that looks like. But all of us have a role in that. And so when we are in these trying times where everybody is being affected in a million different ways, there is nothing more powerful that you can do than to be civically engaged in your local community.
Yeah.
Not to get caught up in what we see on the news about federal things. While that is important, local civics matter the most. That is the thing that is going to affect you first. And so really there's nothing more important that you can do, whether it's a small thing or a big thing. And so I highly encourage everybody to figure out a way to participate, which is what we'll be talking about at the conference.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to add to how Victoria broke that down, but the only thing that I'm thinking about as I'm listening to her is civic engagement. It can meet you where you're at, and so whatever thing that you are excited about, you can find a way to be involved in your community around that thing that you are excited about. Just because somebody else is excited about a different thing, like, that doesn't mean that you have to all of a sudden jump on and be excited about that too. You can find what you're excited about and just be involved in that. And that is going to make an impact, and your sphere of influence in that space will continue to grow and expand. And you'll find different ways to maybe collaborate and make connections. Maybe that friend that had a different thing that they were excited about, maybe over time, that will actually end up being something that kind of blends together, and or you end up being able to do something together. So,
no, that's cool. And I love what you said about it meets people where they're at, because that's the same thing we're doing in public health. That's the whole goal of meeting people where they're at when it comes to their non-medical needs or even their medical needs. Where can we meet community at? Another thing I want to point out, because having a civic engagement conversation at a public health conference isn't really, I mean, I'm sure they're at conferences, but there are people that are going to be in medical spaces, public health spaces, that are going to be at this conference, that were like me or like somebody and not really seeing the connection to health. And I don't want to give the panel away. like I don't want to give it away. You just got to be there November 14th.
Come see us.
But in some of our pre-panel conversations, like it's very clear that little parts of civic engagement or being engaged in your community play huge roles in the health of the public.
Yeah.
And one of those, Victoria, is, I know we've talked about transportation, which is a huge one.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your role with transportation and why do you feel like it is so important to the overall health of the community, but also a civic engagement piece?
So I work in public transportation here in Des Moines, and I would tell you that transportation is the undercurrent and most important thing outside of civic engagement. Because some people can't be civically engaged if they don't have public transportation.
Talk about it.
So, like, the root support system for everything that we do is having good transportation. And that looks like a million different things, whether that is public transportation like I work in, whether that is having access to a vehicle, having money for gas, whatever that looks like. Transportation is just core to folks. So I personally, the work I do is in long distance commuters, so expanding opportunities. So as you talk about health, maybe there's some really good job that's in Newton or that is in Pella, and you wouldn't normally in Des Moines consider one of those two locations if you don't have a car. And so you have this great opportunity for a job which would get you access to health care. That's the number one way most of us get health care is through work. And so that's not something you would consider. So you would stay at a job maybe here in the metro that doesn't offer health care because you don't know that's a possibility. So what I do is I help people set up opportunities to be able to get those jobs at those longer distances in affordable manners that will give them then access to health care, a living wage, all of those sort of things. And of course, all of those are important health, like access to health indicators. The amount of money that you have access to, the access to health care, the mental health services that you're able to receive, the food you can provide your family, right? Like the list goes on and on. And so transportation just winds up being key to that. I encourage everybody also to ride the physical aspect of public transportation, the walking to the bus stop, those sort of small actions that become a normal part of your day, all support your health. And so it's critical to everything that we do.
No, that's real. And Heather, I know, well, when this episode comes out, I think the next day, like there's an election coming up. So
Yeah.
That's Tuesday the 4th.
Tuesday the 4th.
This coming Tuesday. Yep.
So a lot of people, when they think of civic engagement, they think of voting.
Yeah.
Sometimes they only think of voting.
Yeah.
And I know, tell us a little bit. I know this is coming out right before then, but I want to also talk about the importance of getting out to vote, because even though we understand that's not the only thing, it still is an important piece of it.
Yeah.
But can you talk a little bit about kind of the mindset around voting and I think we also had this conversation the last time on my
because I think it was right before the presidential election. I think that we talked about this last time. But this time it's a local election, and I myself, and I would say most voting advocates will tell you that participating in your local elections can sometimes be even more important, if not truly, it is more important than engaging in national elections, because your local elections are the ones that have the most direct impact on your day-to-day life. And so for this year, within the city of Des Moines, we have city council. We also have school board, but then we also have a school bond referendum that, we're talking about public health, that if this bond referendum doesn't go through, there there will be a lot of young people that will not have the ability to get the highest quality education available to them, which then it negatively impacts the public health space, because if these students that are going through the Des Moines public school system are not getting an opportunity to be educated and be able to thrive, then our generation, those are going to be the individuals that are going to be helping take care of us as we get older. Right. And so if they're not equipped with the tools and the insights and the knowledge that they need to be able to succeed and thrive in their own right, that will also negatively impact anybody who is older than them or younger than them, because each generation we are raising and taking care of the generation. We're raising the generation behind us and supporting the generation that is older than us at all times when we're in the workforce. And so that can lead to negative impacts for the entire city and the entire metro, which is why engaging in local politics is so incredibly important.
I would add to that, like the city council elect portion, for example, as we talk about health, those are the individuals that are going to help determine how city money is spent, where new businesses are built, how pollution is handled, how situations with housing are handled, how public transportation is funded. Like, those are all the things that we care about. Your potholes, right? Like, whether you have sidewalks to be able to walk around your neighborhood and for your kids to be able to ride their bikes, all of those sort of things are determined at that level. So to support Heather's point, like, these local politics matter so much on the immediate, where federal elections is more the long-term game. They are definitely important.
Yep.
But if you want a change right now, you would turn over a city council. If you want a change right now, you would turn over a school board. Like, if it's that important to you, that's the work you would be doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Two things. I want to say I just listened to the YouTube video you guys just shared on LinkedIn, kind of talking about what you just mentioned. So I'll make sure I have that linked in the description of this episode so people can look at that on Monday.
Yeah.
But also, I'm older now, but like there was a time where I didn't even know who I would, like when it comes to school board stuff, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I felt like I didn't need to until now, where it's, in my opinion, it's very politicized. Like, there's a lot going on in my kid's school district where it's like, why are y'all even, like, what are we even talking about? Why are y'all talking about that? Why are you positioning yourself? This is not even a school thing.
School board elections are supposed to be nonpartisan.
Yeah. As well as city council.
Yeah.
And they are not.
These are not Republican versus Democratic seats.
Yeah.
The school board is about educating your children regardless of your beliefs.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
Period. And once I started feeling like, oh, this is switching, now I'm like, okay, now it's like paying more attention to like who am I voting for, who's going to be representing my kids.
Yep.
But let's also talk about too, not just the voting piece, but the action piece of attending these school board meetings. Going to these community,
The action piece is yes.
Yeah, because we could talk about the voting piece all day, but then what's next? So I have a friend of mine who they'll text me, "Hey, I need you at the school board meeting at 6:30 on this day. This is what's going on." Let's talk more about that action piece.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, the civic engagement is more than serving office or voting. The civic engagement is showing up to the school board meeting and telling the school board how you want them to represent you.
Yes.
Each school board member, regardless of what city you're in, their job is to represent a population of people, which means they should be carrying your message into the private rooms. And you can tell by the outcomes of the decisions that are being made, right? And so if you have a decision, real big was banned books. That's still a thing, but a few years ago, like that was the topic, right? 2 summers ago, banned books, banned books, banned books. Well, if you were somebody who cared about banned books and whether or not the kids in your district could have access to those books, the best thing for you to do is to show up to the school board or to be in communication with your school board, however you do that, and let them know it is important that my children have access to all books. And I will determine or regulate what they have access to. I don't want you making that decision for me as a quasi-government or government agency. And so, that's it. Showing up to support whatever the initiative is. Or if you think your school board is spending money on repairs that they shouldn't be, or they're giving bids to companies that aren't companies that you support to rebuild a building. Like, you can go to the school board meeting. I don't want you to give them that money. I want you to find a company who does better work. We ultimately have the decision there. They're just carrying out the vote for us. And so when you don't engage, you are giving away all of your power.
Yeah. And the 2 things I would add to that is that sometimes, whether it's your schedule or whether you've got social anxiety or whatever the case may be, going to that meeting in person may feel a little bit intimidating. And so they do offer, both city council and school board, you can watch the meetings online. And so so that is a way for you to be engaged and informed as a person that lives and operates in this community. And the other thing is I think another layer of that civic engagement, maybe I don't feel confident or feel comfortable speaking at the meeting itself and lending my voice there, but maybe I feel comfortable sending an email to my school board member or to my city council person and saying, hey, I would like to have coffee, or I'd like to have a Zoom meeting because I have something that is important to me that I would like to talk to you about. And so then, and that is their job too as elected officials, is to meet with constituents, the people that they represent, and have conversations with them and learn about what the needs are for them. So as Victoria said, that they can carry out those needs and wants in their vote as they are sitting in that position.
Specifically to support Heather there real quick, all school boards in the Des Moines Metro have YouTube channels. So even if you couldn't watch the meeting live, you could go back and watch it later.
Yep.
And then they publish their email list so that you can communicate with them that way. That is not necessarily true of all of our city councils. There are a few city councils that don't have YouTube channels, but most of the city councils do. And the ones that don't plainly say that they don't and that you have to attend and participate in person, but you can definitely have access. I have a list of who my representatives are and will shoot off an email in a heartbeat if I'm that passionate about an issue.
No, that's dope. Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation we're going to have in November 14th at My City, My Health. But I want to touch on something you said, Heather, about being informed and engaged. Can we talk about those people who say, hey, I want to be informed, but I'm just busy and it's hard to be engaged? When people may want to, and people have life is life in, or you may have, there's a lot of other activities, things like that. What's the response to someone that wants to be informed or still wants to do their civic duty, but it's just hard? Yeah.
You okay if I start?
Shoot.
Okay. So one of our panelists, Joseph Jones, we're putting together a toolkit for folks that are at the conference about ways that they can be engaged. And one of the things that has came out of that list is you can sign up to be on a mailing list for different city issues that are important to you, to be on the newsletters for your elected officials. They will send, they send, like, I don't know if it's, not everybody does it every week, but they will send out newsletters that say, this is what I've been working on. These are the key issues that we've been focused on. We would still love to hear from you. Like, that's kind of the model of how they set up their newsletters. And so even if I don't have a ton of time, I can at least get the highlights in that newsletter so that I'm still informed. But also, our local news does a good job of making sure that the issues that are impacting the city at large they're doing stories around that. So between Channel 5, Channel 8, and Channel 13, you get kind of a well-rounded understanding of some of the things that are important. I would also say that we've got some good pieces of media that are being done, whether it's Iowa Starting Line or the Iowa Capital Dispatch. What is the?
That sounds right.
I think that's right. And you can still get some good intel from the Des Moines Register as well. And so there are ways for you to stay informed. You just have to choose the media and the amount that is right for what you have the mental capacity, the actual capacity, whatever that the case may be. I think there are a lot of ways to get that information.
Right. So there's really no reason not to be engaged or informed.
Yeah.
It's just picking the way you want to do it.
Yeah, and you can do that directly engaging with those, or you can do that also by aligning with organizations.
Yep.
So one of the things that Heather and I are in together is the NAACP of Des Moines, and like if you are somebody who that is your lane, you know then that you will get information as part of your membership, whether you attend meetings or not, right? Like you'll get emails, you'll get all the things. There are all kinds of nonprofits. So you don't have to be informed on every topic. You can choose an organization to align with, whether it be a race-based or ethnicity-based organization. It could be a religious-based organization. There's some really great sort of interdenominational religious organizations in town that put out the same sort of information. Interfaith Alliance is one of them. There's some great organizations that will help give you the information that you would probably care the most about. And so there is zero reason not to be civically engaged. Even if you can't attend meetings, just signing up for a mailing list will get you what you need.
And just having that nugget of information that maybe as you're having conversation with friends or family, that information that you read in that newsletter, that overview, that's going to be something that maybe it's top of mind and you end up having a conversation. So that is also civic engagement in action, because you are passing off that information to others that may not have had that opportunity to hear that already.
And you're passing off factual information, not the gossip. Right? Because you got it from the source. You got it from the city of Des Moines because it came from their mailing list, or the city of West Des Moines because it came from their mailing list.
And I can attest, it can spark some advocacy on your point, because the NAACP of Des Moines put out a newsletter just warning people to get bottled water or do some of these things. And for me, understanding what was going on in that world is like, oh, more people need to know this. So there is a 4-part series about the water quality here that I'm on part 3. It's a lot.
But that also connects to public health, right?
Water quality is a huge issue that most people we just think that what comes out of our faucets is good enough. And for some of us it is. But also, if you're a low-income individual and can't afford bottled water, what in the world are you supposed to do? So you have families making decisions. Well, the little ones will drink the bottled water, and we'll drink the tap water, and all of these things, and you don't know that that's something you should take seriously unless it comes from a trusted source.
Right. So it's just like a snowball, because I got that information. Now I'm able to give that information to whoever's listening, or even my mom, who thinks my podcast is the 30-second clip I share on Facebook. I listened to your podcast today; it was good, baby. I'm like, Mom, that was 60 seconds.
Podcast. She listening to the pod, not the podcast.
Yes.
That's great.
Going back to that. That conversation has been brought up a couple times. The conversation we had at the library. I want to say it was you brought up the example of civic engagement looking like picking up trash at your local library. And so I want to talk about the different ways outside of, we already talked about, voting and, all those other things. But I don't think people can wrap their mind around how is going to my local library and cleaning up the outside. How is that civic engagement?
Really easy. It saves the city costs of having to clean, send somebody out there to clean, which you're going to have hourly wages and fringe benefits and all the things associated with either a person or a contracted agency to clean up. If they're not having to pay for that because you had a few minutes on a Saturday, you and your neighbor went and cleaned up the yard around the library, then that is money that can be spent on something else.
Yep.
And so you might have just fed a couple of families. You might have just helped the city give more money to education. You might have just given the library more books that they can now purchase because you took a few minutes of your free time to just clean up the public spaces around you.
Yep.
It's the littlest actions that can snowball into the biggest things.
Yeah. And tagging on with the library in general, utilizing your local library is civic engagement in and of itself.
Yes.
If I have a meeting, maybe I don't schedule it at a national chain restaurant or a national chain coffee shop. Maybe I schedule that meeting at the library. One, it's free for all of us, so we all saving money. But two, that shows the value of the library itself because people are coming in and using its services.
Look, let's take that a step further. I was just reading some stuff yesterday. I try to stay updated on what the supply hive is doing. And in light of people potentially losing food benefits in the month of November, I wanted to see what they had going on. And they were featuring some of the community fridges, and it reminded me that Des Moines Public Library downtown, I think a few of the others do too, but it was specifically downtown I was looking at, has a community fridge for people to be able to have.
Avenue has one too,
yes,
I think.
So people can access food. So think about that. Heather hosts a meeting at the library. In the meeting invite, she reminds people there's a community fridge. Bring some food goods, right? Like you're already going that direction. It takes you 2 seconds to grab a couple boxes of stuffing out of your out of your cabinet. You're able to drop those off on your way to the meeting. So you just supported a public agency. You attended a meeting for free on civic engagement, and you helped feed a family. Look at all of that, and literally, it's what you would have had done anyway.
Yeah.
I went onto the Des Moines Public Library website just to see what you could do, what kind of services they have.
It's so dope.
You can make T-shirts.
Yes.
They have a press for it. You can put design on a coffee mug if you want. There are so many services that are free.
Yes. I make buttons whenever I want to like a new button, and I just like make the little design, and I go and it takes like I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, and you've got like 20 or 30 buttons. And you can buy the materials at the library too. And they're like $1.50, and you get like 20 buttons. It's wild.
And you would have paid $7, $8, $9 a button with an some national organization. You have to wait for it to come in the mail.
Right, and that's money. That's tax dollars. You feel proud that
exactly.
I can provide that. Because even looking at it, what if there's probably some young kid that wants to start a clothing company or clothing line, doesn't even know where to start because they can't afford a $200 screen press or $120, whatever it is. It could be $5. They ain't got it. But they could afford. It's 10 cents for the little film to press on there. 10 cents. You get a shirt, 10 cents. Boom.
And they hold classes regularly to teach you how to use things. So you get you check out the book to learn how to do it yourself. Listen to the audio, but like the library is such a critical piece of our community. It's something we should all support more, and we're just really lucky that we have really dope resources in our libraries here. Everybody isn't as fortunate as we are.
And you like going down that line with like learning how to do photography or learning how to do this, and you check out the book. It also has me thinking about like what the long-term effects of that could be too, because if an individual is getting inspired that way and then they start owning and operating a business, then we have a new small business owner that's in the city. They are a new tax base because they're paying taxes on their goods and services that are being provided. It like literally it helps make the world go round. And it all I think that it really all we really need to start thinking about is just that extra little shift in our mindset, or maybe the lens that we're looking at going to that meeting for. If we just take that one or two like shift of lens, then we could be making such a wide impact for just that small adjustment.
Yeah.
Man, that's real. Hey, November 14th, you're going to see a lot more of this. I wish we could talk forever. I can listen to you talk about this forever. It's almost like y'all should have your own podcast.
We've talked about it.
We have talked about it, yep.
I know. I think I just said that.
Corey's like, now I'm saying it to everybody out loud.
I am putting you on blast.
As the kids say.
Message received.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you've been to My City, My Health before.
Yep.
Have you been before?
No, I haven't. I always miss it, but I'll be there this year.
Yeah.
See, Corey spreading the word, bringing people into the new spaces.
So tell me, what are you looking forward to? Well, I'll start with you, Heather. What are you looking forward to now? You've been before that you kind of maybe appreciate about My City, My Health, and what are you looking forward to this year?
Yeah, I think that for me, not being a direct public health practitioner myself, I find it really valuable to just learn about some of the things that people are thinking about that work in the public health sector. But it also helps build more community connections. I think the vibe that you and Larry have created in that space is it allows people to feel comfortable just being themselves and engaging with everyone else too.
That's on purpose.
Yeah. So that's probably what I'm just looking forward to, more community more community information, but then community togetherness.
Absolutely. How are you looking forward to?
I am really interested in hearing about what folks who work in the health space are interested in. Like I'm curious to see how they engage with the topics. I'm somebody who likes to be able to, like we did today, talk about how you can be connected to systems or how you can affect and change systems. And the healthcare system is not one that is an everyday part of my life either. But clearly it's so important. And so what are those resources? Who are the movers in those spaces? How can I help connect them to things they might not be thinking about? Is it public transportation? Is there a issue there where somebody says something and I can connect to that, or I could, they have a resource I can share with my community. I am really just interested in learning more about the space. And I'm jealous that the past couple of years, like, it's always later that day too. Like later that day, they'll be like, "Oh man, we had a good day today." I'm like, "Oh, what'd you do?" "Oh man, we went to My City, My Health." And I'm like, how did I miss it again?
Dee.
So it never fails. It's always the same day. I'm excited to be able to be a part of the after conversation. I've never heard a bad thing. And so any opportunity I can get to learn, I want to be there. And in this case, also, we have the opportunity to spread some of the work that we think is important in the space. And so being able to have that back and forth would be great.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys being on it. Like I said, having people able to drive that conversation where I didn't really know where I went, because I don't know the space. I just knew it was important. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise that I went to that nonprofit co-working time at that time I did.
Yep.
Because
divine intervention.
Yeah. Well, you guys were saying things I didn't even consider. I'm like, oh, I didn't even consider that could be something.
Yeah.
Oh, so it just had me going. So it's like, oh, if I get the right people in the panel, I don't got to do nothing.
Yeah.
But show up and watch and learn with everybody else. Yeah. So I appreciate y'all for doing that.
We're excited about
for being a part of it.
Super excited.
For those that are listening that may want to connect with you some more, learn more about you and what your organizations are doing, where can they reach you?
Yeah.
The easiest way to reach me is through NAACP. So you can go to the NAACP website. That's NAACP Des Moines, spelled all the way out, .org. There's a contact form on there that comes directly to my email. So that is the quickest way to be able to get a hold of me.
Yeah. For me, all of my socials, my handle is the same for all of them. So whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or TikTok, it's at HTOJIZONES.
H to the Jizzle.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it.
Yes.
Every time I
Yes.
see it, I sing the song in my
Uh-huh.
head.
That's how it happened. The nickname came to me in college from some friends, and it stuck.
It's
so
fun.
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, again, Heather, Victoria, thank you so much for being here. Everybody listening, My City, My Health, November 14th. You can still get tickets. Get them soon because we're going to shut it down here soon. Go to www.mycity.health. You can see who all the panelists are, the agenda, and you can register. Or if you can't attend, you can still support by getting one of our dope community shirts designed by a local artist here in Des Moines. They're super cool. But thank you guys so much for listening. This is a Healthy Project podcast. I'll holler at you next time.
Bye, y'all.